What inspires the goodness within us, within humankind, to engage in good deeds, to the extent of dedicating their whole life for a cause they truly believe in. What is it that inspires people to altruistic acts of service, heroic deeds of sacrifice, to the extent of dedicating their whole life for a cause they truly believe in? It is because of a higher happiness they experience in the process. Let's try and understand it. I was once walking on a street when a note on a lamppost caught my attention. I read it. One old lady had scribbled, "I lost 500 rupees here. I am literally blind. If you find it, please come and give it to me on this address." That note aroused compassion in me. I decided I must help that lady, noted down the address and went searching for it. When I reached her home, I knocked and she let me in. I said, "Mother, I read this note of yours and I have found the 500 rupees on the street which I have come to give to you." The old lady started crying. She said, "It is not my 500 rupees and I did not write the note. I don't even know how to write. But you are the 35th person since the morning who has come to my address with 500 rupees. I said, "Nevertheless, Mataji, now that I am here, you please keep it." She accepted the money, which I am sure was extremely helpful in her penurious condition. While returning, I started contemplating on the person who wrote that note with the desire to help the lady. But more astonishing was the behavior of the 35 people before me who were moved to pity in trying to help her. While these thoughts were ruminating in my mind, a gentleman came to me with an address and said, "Sir, can you please help me locate this address? I have to give 500 rupees to an old lady who has lost it." These are acts of altruism. What inspires the goodness within us, within humankind, to engage in good deeds? Well, you may have heard from the Kathopanishad, there is one Shreya happiness, which seems like bitter poison in the present, but turns into ambrosia like nectar later on. And then is the prayer happiness, which seems like sweet nectar in the here and now, but turns into bitter poison later on. Interestingly, this concept of Shreya and prayer happiness is also reflected in modern psychology, which has picked up two terms from Greek literature, hedonia and eudaimonia. Hedonic delights are those which are extremely pleasurable in the present, but later on they evaporate, very often leaving a sense of guilt, unfulfillment, or at least an inflamed desire for the same delight once again. So chasing hedonic delights is like running on a treadmill. You know, in the gymnasium they have treadmills. You put it on and the ground starts moving, you run on it. You can keep running for 15 minutes, even half an hour. But at the end of it, you are in the same place. Likewise is the wheel on which people place a rat. And the rat starts climbing on the wheel. But the more it climbs, the more the wheel turns. And ultimately, the rat remains in the same place. People who chase hedonic delights all their life find that they are no more contented at the end of it than they were in the beginning. In contrast is eudaimonic happiness. This is the sense of well-being and fulfillment that comes when you act in accordance with your higher values. When you dedicate your efforts to a purpose higher than yourself, which inspires you and which you truly believe in. The eudaimonic delight does not involve efforts that are pleasurable. In fact, they may be painful in the here and now, and yet they are so satisfying because they are aligned with your beliefs in a higher purpose. And that is why when you work hard, even though the mind complains and it is unpleasant, to get the good grades for a career of proficiency, the satisfaction you get from within is a eudaimonic delight. Likewise, when you have unknowingly hurt a close relation of yours, and mending that relationship requires you to lower your ego and beg for forgiveness. It is extremely hurtful, and yet when you do it to maintain and cultivate that relationship, it gives you a sense of fulfillment, of having overcome your lower self for a relationship you truly believe in. This eudaimonic delight inspires us in our life to find a purpose. As Martin Luther King Jr. put it so aptly, he said, if you have not found a cause you are willing to die for, your life is not worth living. The most amazing example of this is of Captain Mull. He was the captain of an Indian naval ship. In the Indo-Pak War in 1971, his ship was torpedoed by a Pakistani submarine, and it became clear to him that it was sinking to the ocean bed. He arranged for the evacuation of all the crew. And finally, when he was convinced that they all had been safely evacuated from the ship, there were no more lifeboats available. But he was undisturbed. He sat on an easy chair on the deck and he smoked a cigar as his naval subordinates on the lifeboats saw their captain descend into the ocean alongside with INS Kukri, that Indian naval ship. Now, what inspired Captain Mull to lay down his life in that heroic moment in the service of his country? It was the inner bliss of aligning his actions with a higher purpose. So, what is important to find true fulfillment in your life is to find a higher purpose. Let me read about it to you from The Art and Science of Happiness. How do we know that we have found our purpose? If we wake up in the morning with gratitude and look forward to a day of meaningful toil, enthusiastic to do our best, it indicates we have found a purpose for our life. On the other hand, if our first act upon waking in the morning is to search for entertainment on social media, it means we are still purposeless. Everyone's life purpose is different. For some, it comes about through their profession, while others find it in a social cause. Yet others discover it in creative pursuits. For some, a spiritual belief leads to it. Many times, people find deeper meaning from suffering. Pain can lead to new insights, which helps us discover a deeper meaning to life. The higher purpose you determine for yourself should be so inspiring that pursuing it brings out your best qualities. It should exemplify who you are and what you believe in. It can even change as you go through life. Pointers to your purpose can come by pondering over the following questions. Why am I here in this world? What is the goal of human life? How can I contribute my talents to society and make a difference? What will give me inner happiness and peace? Just a few more pointers on this topic. The most inspiring goal is that where the motivation is true love, selfless devotion. And when the object of that devotion is the Supreme Almighty, we then enter the realm of Nishkam Bhakti and Seva. With that as our goal, Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, lead your life in Karma Yoga, where yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Arjun, whatever you do it as an offering unto me. You will then find that every act with the pure intention of offering the fruits to God will fulfill you, will satiate you with eudaimonic delights. We will continue our journey in this pursuit of happiness in the ongoing video lecture series.